Today, we welcome Haleh Houshim, a true wellness hero who has come back from the depths of physical and mental trauma, including domestic violence and a severe health crisis, to thrive and inspire others to live vibrantly. Her story will show you a path to reclaiming your health and happiness. Welcome to WellWaveNOW, your portal for actionable wellness insights. Meet your health empowerment team. First, there's Breck, the healthcare disruptor, decoder of medication complexities, and a community and integrative wellness expert. Always a pleasure to have with us as a co-host, Dr. Bob Levine, renowned brain researcher and national leader in drug-free pain elimination. And I'm Tim Daniels, wellness plan manager, builder of personalized wellness approaches as unique as you are, with an expertise in pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Together, we are your wellness catalysts, committed to elevating your health, enhancing your functionality, and optimizing your performance at every life stage. WellWaveNOW, where timeless wisdom lights your wellness path. Today, we are honored to welcome Haleh Houshim, a shining example of resilience and transformation. Haleh has overcome profound physical and mental trauma, including, as I mentioned, domestic violence and a severe health crisis, to rebuild her life and thrive. As the founder now of Healthspan with Haleh, she now empowers others to embrace strategies that she used for vibrant health and intentional living. Her story is a true testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of integrative health practices.
Awesome. It's so glad to have you join us today. I'm so excited to hear more about your story and get into more of the details here. But this is part of our Wellness Heroes series, and I've got to give all the credit to Tim for this, for coming up with this. We've had some amazing practitioners on. We've had some amazing, doctors and PhDs and all kinds of people within the health and wellness community that's here. But then Tim had this idea to bring people on that have had to overcome something in their life, and this is an amazing time. Dr. Bob, did you have a quick question?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello to Haleh. I've known her for quite some time now, and it's great to see you on the show. And the value of having someone like you and you is that you've been through a lot, and it doesn't matter in our listening audience what somebody has going on for them. They're going to see your journey, and they're going to know that it's possible for them to achieve the success like you've achieved. So it doesn't matter, what the condition is that somebody finds themselves in. They're going to get benefit from hearing all about your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome again to everybody that's live on social media, on TikTok, Facebook, and then here in the studio audience on Zoom. But to start with, Haleh, why don't you take us back to the beginning, where some of these challenges were? And I know I want to be sensitive to what you can handle. Don't want to trigger you with anything, but I would also like to get into some of the details behind you overcoming the domestic violence as well as your health crisis.
Thank you so much. First, I want to take this time to say I am grateful and thankful for allowing me to be here at this time and space. And thank you so much, Dr. Bob Levine. Grateful for you. Thank you.
Right. And one thing as you get into that, and I know this was the second what Breck and Bob have said in terms of Breck, we don't want to trigger you or to cause anything, and Bob saying how important it is from various aspects. But even on the issue of domestic violence, I don't know if you ever looked at the statistics yourself, Haleh, but it's something where over 33% of women have suffered from it. But in addition, over a quarter of men have, and it's something to the nature of 12 million people per year on that. So even that part of your story alone is inspiring and helpful just to so many men and women out there. So we'd love you to take us through what you're comfortable with on that.
Thank you. So I will start with the domestic violence since we're on the subject. So it was in my 20s. Prior to that, I did not have much good relationship. I was entering into the wrong relationship, and the root of all of that is another story by itself, why I led myself to these kind of relationship. It was in my early 20s. I married a guy that I fell in love with, and I thought, this is it. This is the one for me. I was in it for 4 years, and to say the least, I am literally blessed to be alive and to be standing here. I was raised with a lot of love, a lot of affection, and I thought domestic violence is only available, like you could only see it in the movies. So I was that naive about it. and I was totally blocked out about it. So I went in, and it was a little bit shocking during that time. And when I would see signs, I would block it out. And I was, as I said, in it for 4 years. However, I came out of that 4 years, and the way I came out was not all the details and all the people saying, because there were like a lot of people want you to get out of that, but you don't know what it's like until you experience it. It's easy, and we all care and love, and we wonder why they don't get out of it. But it's a feeling that can only be experienced. I'll put it that way, that person has to literally be ready for it. And the work that it takes is going within that light, within yourself, with that knowing that you can get out. If you want me to share how I got out, I'll be happy
That would be great.
to
But can
share.
I ask you a question first?
Sure.
Do you think that some people stay in the relationship because they don't want to either fail themselves, or they don't want other people to think that they failed, and they try and figure out a way to go forward even though it's not a great situation?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I'll tell you what it is, because a lot of people, there's few different reasons for each person is different. There could be financially, they're dependent on them. Their fear, even within the restriction order, they would think that it can happen in an instant, in a second. They can grab the knife and put it on their, on their throat. And that had happened to me. So it can be it's a lot of fear-based. And also it could be the guilt, the shame. I told you so. And they went in anyway. There's several different aspects of it. And a lot of times that anxiety, that stress that the body feels, it blocks out anything else. Like, I didn't want to listen to anyone, and I didn't want to tell anyone. I was one of the people that would say, I told you so. I didn't want to hear that. And then there was a fear they're going to come after my family. This guy is literally out of his mind, and he can kill my family in an instant. So there's a lot of different aspects. So the only thing that literally helped me, I would go in a closet. I had a walk-in closet. I would go in there, and I had a notebook, because I believe in neuroscience, when you write with pen to paper, that expresses a certain healing, that it comes out of your soul. Like, there's feelings to your words that comes out, and it heals you. So I was writing pen to paper every day when he was not around. I would go lock myself in the closet and cry oceans, and just ask for what I want and write. And my prayer for me, what my belief is that God is within us, that light. So I would ask and keep writing, and I would shut everyone else out, because I knew that answer is inside of me. So I did that consistently. Like, the pen and paper were my best friends. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote every day. And I got out in 4 years. It took me 4 years to be ready to get out. I also read a lot about it. And when I got out, the doors open. That's what I'm saying. When you ask and you put all your feelings to it, the doors will open that you do not know. Certain doors will open. So when I did that, the process, the opportunity, the door that opened for me, I got out. And in 2008, I call my king, my soul, my rock, my everything. The best thing that has ever happened to me in 2008, to love me for who I am, and got married in 2010.
Wow.
And
Haleh, I have a question, and I hope
yes.
I'm not taking questions from the other
Yes.
who might ask the same thing. I'm really curious though. So you knew for 4 years, right, that you were not having a great time, right? And so, do you have advice for anyone, male or female, who finds themselves in that kind of a situation to accelerate the process when you're not having a great time and you know you want to get out? Do you have any advice on that?
Yes, I do. I love that question. It's each one of us is different. So what works for me was I found that light within me, because we're never alone. And I knew that it's just the knowing, the feeling that you have that this is not outside of you to reach for help. Because when I did, it was getting worse. When I say when I didn't do it. The neighbors heard it. So the neighbors called in the cops and he got worse. So what happened with these kind of people, they have two personalities. One is extremely good as the bad. They will come back crying, buy you gifts, and say, sorry, it won't happen again. And knowing a lot of us fall into that trap, keep forgiving and keep wanting to fix it. And then we go in that cycle thinking it's going to get better, because it does for a while. And then this happens again.
So what was however you want to articulate it, was there a trigger that finally said, hey, it's time to go? And there was a progression. I see either, you wrote, you got your things out, you reaching, like you, I believe that God can be indwelt. And so, you asked, you talked to yourself, you waited for the communication internally, that'll help. So two things for that, what was the tipping point that finally said, I'm getting out? And then two, did you get out by yourself, or did you reach out to someone, or did someone show up and grab you and take you out?
Great points. There's several branches to that question. Okay, I'll answer one of them. I had many episodes that when I did reach out and when they came and talked to him, everything like settled, it was good, but then it would start again. So there was occasions for that. There was occasion that was so bad and I didn't want to tell anyone. I would literally go myself, because my head banged against the wall. I would literally go and get an MRI done for myself without anyone knowing, for my own sake. I did that at that time. And then there was times that people would see the bruise, they were questioning it, but that didn't also make me come out. There's times people even gave me tons of books. It's like, are you going through physical abuse? People were guessing stuff that they were around me, and they wanted to come and talk to him. Is it him? I would always protect him and say it's not him. And one of the reasons was he had a full custody of his daughter. And I was connected to that daughter, and the daughter was connected to me, and the family was taking care of her. So I didn't want the child to go through that. And I didn't also want the child to pay for the price of the dad. I didn't want him to be taken away because there's a child involved. And that was his child. So to answer that, my point was, one day, it just, as I said, I don't know if it was all my intentions and asking the light. One day I just walked out literally without anything, and I did not look back. I walked out empty, disattached to anything. That's when it was just, that's what I say. It's like it's hard for people to believe that, because you got to really feel it and know that there's something higher than you, like a divine miracle that comes your way. And when it does, it's only the answer that I can give, because it's the light that shined upon me from all the pain. During those times, yes, I went up and down through a lot of pain, through a lot of suffering, a lot of discomfort, but then the good side of his was really good as well. So I was going back and forth in that. And one day I just walked out and I went to it was my grandmother, who passed at 94. I was really, really, really close with her. She was like my best friend. And my mom at that time, me and my mom lived with my grandmother at that time. So it was just three of us living there. So I went there, and I just, that was, yeah, just like going back. Yeah, that was what happened. And I just went to and things just changed, and I just didn't look back. There was a fear. There was a lot of work I had to do on myself, tons and tons of work. But
Okay.
Is there any, Breck had a question, I believe.
Yeah, so Haleh, I just wanted to, obviously you brought up a little bit of the physical evidence, right? People started to ask questions. We know how emotionally draining that situation was. Besides the bruising or the bonked heads, what can you also attribute that emotional and physical effect on the rest of your health? Is there anything that you link with some of the other issues that you've had to overcome?
Yes, actually, that was the beginning of my fear goes into subconscious, the anxiety attacks, the panic attacks, the subconscious. I was at that time, before that, I was fearless. I would not be afraid. But after that, I had anxieties and panic attacks. Like I had to look back, make sure no one's following me. I would get dizzy. I would get lightheaded. I was getting symptoms, like health symptoms created in my body. And I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? And people were just, they love to label you constantly with different labels and give you medicine. And I didn't want that. I started reading a lot of books, a lot of researching, and had the greatest mentors and coaches. And I did a lot of quantum. I'm on the quantum biohacking. I did other therapies. One of the therapies that really, really works is I'm sure most of you know Louise Hay.
Yeah, it's amazing too.
So that's why I said roads open up. She coached me. Dr. Wayne Dyer coached me. I went to Forum, Tony Robbins. So I did a lot of work on my inner self to get rid of that panic attack, that anxiety attack, and all of that. Because when I would, and then the sad part was when something would come up, everyone would blame it. Or you're getting anxiety attack, you're getting panic attack. It's from that time you got physical abuse. So then I had a label, like a shame label, like everything that would happen to me, they would blame it on that. So it was a whole cycle and whole therapy techniques that I had to.
So you mentioned you said a lot of people are familiar with Louise, but you mentioned her first and others on there. But I guess if she came to mind first, I think you put maybe there's a lot of importance on that. But for the audience in general, what was her work like with you, Haleh?
Yeah, sure. I have actually one of her books right here next to me, Louise, and it's been like a guide for me all along, and it's always next to me.
What's the title? What's the title?
Oh, You Can Heal Your Life.
You Can Heal Your Life. Perfect.
You can heal that. And what's good about this book, in one of like it has like, let's say you have a headache, then it has what's causing it, and then the positive intake for it. So it's really a good book. And it's funny it's here because I was talking to a client about one of the symptoms she was having as well. So, and it's handy right here. But anyway, so Louise Hay, one of the things, as I only shared about the domestic violence, there's a lot more in my life, but one of the things that she said, and I keep a mirror next to me at all times, and it says, life loves you. It has become a practice like brushing my teeth. Every morning I look at myself eye to eye in the mirror and I say, I love you. It took a while for me to get that because during that time I started not loving myself and I didn't like who I am. And by her coaching and loving myself, and it starts by not loving ourselves to be able to accept such a domestic violence abuse. So it all starts with that lack within ourselves,
Okay.
that you allow that inside of you.
Okay.
So that's where it was. I was having a lot of bad relationship because if I go way back, I didn't love myself, and all of that stems. I'll share this part. When I came to America from Tehran, my dad worked with the Shah, and when the revolution happened, we literally lost everything. They tore down our place and everything was taken away. And my mom was around 14, 16 of age when she got engaged to my dad. So when her friends wanted her to live in Beverly Hills because her friends were there. So we moved there. So from the beginning, at a young age, I went in a place that I didn't belong. I had to fit into this image to be this princess, this Barbie. And I'm more of a natural, simple person, but I had to be raised in that community and all of that. Yes, I was athletic. Yes, I was fit. I worked at the best corporation, top of the firm, as a legal secretary, paralegal, legal assistant, executive assistant to directors, all of that was good, but I did not love the image I had to be in, this image that it was not me. So
Right.
that's where it rooted, and it led me to the domestic violence and the relationships.
Right. So beautiful. Appreciate you sharing that. And it sounds like what we always talk about with people when I'm sure you do your work, as part of that, you went through a little root cause analysis and you addressed it at that functional level, and got the type of help that you needed to heal yourself on that mental realm. Now let's go through so you've got through that part and a lot of the lessons learned there. I'm sure you'll share with us as additional. You've shared with us the lessons learned. You'll talk, I think, later on about how you now apply it to your work and helping others. But let's also talk about, unfortunately, that wasn't the only thing that hit you in your life. So 2008, you got out. 2010, you met a person as good as Bob Levine, and I.
That's cute, Tim. That's cute.
Hopefully better looking. Hopefully
Yeah,
a lot.
really. Yeah. Younger version.
There's nobody better looking than Bob. Bob's got it all. He's got the brain.
There's no way to recover. That's okay. All right.
You met a good partner who's been healing with you and a good helpmate for you. But then you got hit at what point with some health challenges. So what happened there, Haleh?
Right. So that was when I was working in the cancer center. That was January 2011, regular work day. So I got up.
So you had 1 year of bliss.
So it was a regular work day. I was getting up, going to go to work. As soon as I put my foot on the floor, and keep in mind that I was athletic, I was fit, I even had a six-pack, and during this time, I was constantly impacting lives in their relationship and their health. So I was doing that while I was working. So that was just my passion, helping and guiding people. But at that time, when I put my foot on the floor to go use the restroom, I collapsed on the floor. And I tried to get up. I was shaking. I was trembling. I couldn't get up. I had no idea what's going on. I was shocked. So I kept on pushing against the floor and I couldn't. My husband came to carry me to the restroom, and when I was just holding on to him, shaking, and really was confused. And at the same time, everything was turning like a vertigo in my head. It was really scary. And yes, positive me, I was scared at that time. They labeled me with an autoimmune of Hashimoto, and that is a throat chakra. My voice was shut in the cancer center. Yes, the patients loved me and I was happy and all that, but the subconscious traps everything. So they labeled me with the Hashimoto, autoimmune, chronic fatigue, chronic pain. And when an autoimmune hits, they want to just keep labeling you shingles, because I started getting rashes all over my neck. It was red, inflamed. Just to sum it up, I went through a lot of pain and discomfort. And because I knew, which I didn't share with you, since age 7, I had this knowing that people can live beyond what is given to them. I knew that because when I would see people in pain, I would feel their pain, and I'm like, that is not right. Something is hidden. They're just not letting us know. So that went into my gut, to my knowing that you can live, I would say 200 plus years in optimal health. And that stayed with me. And I carried that throughout my life. And that's how I met the most amazing mentors and scientists that cured cancer. And my roads were opening to all these amazing technologies, and you name it, I've done and I've studied. So with that being said, I was getting flashbacks when I was in bed for 3 months with all the labels. After 3 months, I got out of bed. I'm 55. I've never been on any meds, although it wasn't easy. I've been through a lot. I've done a lot.
So did you never went on meds, or you came off of meds? Okay.
None. I've never went on meds.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to. And the funny thing about that is, my mom, my mom was never a medicine person also. She doesn't even like taking supplements. That's my mom. Now, my dad, yes, would take Excedrin, Tylenol, and would have a little bit even of alcohol sometimes with his, that's my dad and that was my mom. So ever since, I didn't want to touch it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't comfortable. I just let go of the fear. One thing about me, I have that inner, I had that since when I was 7 too. I always felt different, like the black sheep in the family. I always felt that there is a God within us. There is a light and we are never alone. And when we allow fear in, then that's where everything happens. So I knew there's other ways, there's other modalities, there's other technologies. And I got to know people with advanced biohacking and technologies and techniques and chiropractor. And there's other modalities that can help you heal that body.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you and I have never talked about various beliefs or anything, but according to my belief, it lines up with what you say there in terms of, it says, I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and of courage and of love and of a sound mind. So when that fear comes, it is not divine, it is not holy that's coming upon people, and should hopefully it should be dealt with a different way.
So go ahead, Jim.
So 2000. So how long were you? So you got hit 2011. How long were you laid up until you got yourself up from that? And feel free. I don't know all of Breck's and Bob's belief either, but I can say we don't worship the summer solstice. So don't take us down that worshiping the summer solstice path. But feel free to share.
No, I'm not there also. I don't do no. I don't do the woo. What do they call it? Woo? No, I'm not.
Woo woo.
Woo. I'm not a woo woo.
So feel free to kind of share, just like you shared your journaling and what that got out. Feel free to share some of the things that you use as an alternative to medicine to kind of heal yourself physically as well.
Before you get going, I just want to frame what was going on with you. So you couldn't get up. You were carried by your husband to the hospital.
To the bathroom.
To the bathroom.
I did not go to any hospitals.
Okay. Oh, you stayed home.
I was bedridden at home.
At that time, but you did have physicians. She very carefully.
No, not physicians, not physician in the holistic realm.
Well, but we'll say, you tell me and put it that way, because I did make an assumption there. She was very careful to say she didn't accept a diagnosis. She said I was labeled, so somebody labeled you with Hashimoto's.
Yeah, who labeled you? Yeah.
Okay, so because at that time I did work in the cancer center, right? So the doctors, MD, the doctor that knows me and knows that I don't take any meds, he drew blood only. And he was able to tell me, and now my belief about a blood test is different too. I do live blood tests and scans and other, what do you call it, different technologies that I use.
Diagnostics, yeah.
Diagnosis, yeah, I use different techniques.
And even in those days, you used MRIs, as you mentioned. So
yeah, that's what I did. I did an MRI. I haven't ever since, I would say back to that, ever since, wow, it's been a long time. I haven't. It was around the same ballpoint, I would say. 2012.
What kind of pain were you feeling? You said you were.
And I don't go to doctor or any of that right now. The only doctors I do go with, I would say chiropractor. I do like the biocharger, the PMF. I do other modalities and technologies in the holistic realm that I do. And I highly, highly love chiropractor, but the right one. So yes, so that is so important for what you guys do. I value that and honor that. That's what's needed, because going back to the question, during my time, I think I was I've been guided, I'll put it this way, because my interest and my passion was in the holistic realm, and I would go to the conventions and the Healthspan places with biohacking. So I would meet people and I would research. I'm a researcher. I would love to research and talk to the person and learn a lot and mentor a lot. So that's how I've got to learn a lot of different modalities and techniques and epigenetics and all of that. And I'm always reading and I'm always learning. and that's my passion. That has been my passion. So one of the modalities that worked with me when I was in bed, I knew a chiropractor, and I've known him a long time, that I would go with him, and he had always the highest tech stuff about health, the holistic health, always the advanced technologies. So he guided me to this person, and his name is Dr. Doug Lair, and it's in one of my books. I mentioned him. He worked on me for 3 months, and it was cell to soul, soul to cell, quantum, cell resonance quantum healing. And that's what he used on he did on me. And then there was the scientist
So
that
also,
cured his cancer. There's two things.
well, time on that one, because some people will think that's woo-woo.
Yeah,
So,
that's why I'm gonna say it. It's not. It's science. That one is. I know that because the word healing came behind it. I know about the woohoo stuff because, as I said, I've tried everything. In the past, was an energy, and the stuff that I don't believe and I don't do anymore, was an energy healer myself, which all of that went, as I said, I've done a lot of different, I've come out of all of that because of my own experience. So I mean, yes, as I said, I'm not a woohoo, if I could get even the name right. I'm not that kind of person. So yeah, that I got certified in that, and as I said, Dr. Doug Lear is also a chiropractor as well too. So with that, one of the other modalities was the scientist. He knew the scientist that cured cancer, and he had a special test and it's a special way. As I said, he's a researcher, he's a scientist, and he had created products of his own, had fed the microbiome of the body, and it helped in another, it's very deep, and his research and everything, I mean, that takes a lot, like a scientist, it's a lot to it, but his technique and his way, and they worked a lot with the nervous system, with a lot of stuff. It had to do with a lot of chiropractor. It had to do with a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of different steps that went into my healing.
yeah.
And another,
let me insert there a little bit
yes.
of this book.
Yes.
We have luckily, and we have a wide ranging audience. We have people everywhere, and wisdom doesn't, like as you got that insight when you were young and had sort of the intuitive empathy. It doesn't always come with age, but we've got people from 18 to 70, and not everybody understands the microbiome. So for those who don't, I wanted to just give a brief statement on that. And there's more and more, people always listen to say, trust your gut, and it's in your gut. And they talk about there's a gut and mind connection, and more and more is coming out. And the microbiome is what exists in the gut and the intestines of people. And they're finding more and more scientifically and through studies and facts, the connection between that and general health. And so affecting that, what's in the microbiome and strengthening that and getting rid of bad things in there and getting good things growing in there has been shown to have an impact. So that's part of what you do. But now, Haleh, is that the quantum cell, soul-to-soul resonance? What is the quantum soul, cell-to-cell resonance?
What does that mean to the vagus nerve that connects it all, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that thing, okay, we all believe the subconscious mind, how powerful it is, right?
Yep.
We all know that we're frequencies, correct?
Right.
Electricity, right? Electricity runs through our body, right? So the triggers of the nervous system that, for example, let's say the panic attacks that I was having and all of those, let's say you're happy and you're moving along and you're joyful, but the subconscious mind, you haven't healed that, it's trapped in your cells. So when I say cell to soul, soul to cell, that needed to come out. There's stuff in the subconscious, so it requires work. And that's how it gets out. There was a lot of stuff deep rooted, which I didn't know it's even there. I thought it's healed. So it was triggering. Certain things would come up, it would trigger it. Like, for example, I didn't have a voice. No wonder it's called the throat, right? Hashimoto. And no one in my genes have it. No one has autoimmune. I mean, at that time, I was so curious. As I said, I'm a researcher. I did 23andMe. I mean, I wouldn't do that thing ever, but I did it at that time. My husband didn't want to do it, and he never did it. But I really wanted to know. I was so curious because it doesn't even exist. That's when I say some things are not genetics and some things are just really, as I call cells. So it gets trapped in our cells and it shows up in the body as a symptom. As you know, like in the body, the pain is those emotions in the body,
It's really hard to explain what you're
It's a
talking
lot
about.
good, right?
I've had experience with people where you just put your finger on a certain place on their body, all of a sudden they melt. They're like, oh, it's, what's happening here? So, that's the mind-body connection. That's the emotions. That's the history. That's the trauma connecting with the tissues of the body. I don't know how else to explain it.
Oh, also, but you take me back about body mind. Okay, you just triggered a part of me. I did some body work was done on me as part of one of my healing, and it's because I experienced this. I could say it is truth. Emotions will come out of you from the pain you're feeling. It's not the pain, it's emotions. If you're hurting, it's an emotion trapped there. It happened to me. It's an emotion that's trapped in your cells. Mm-hmm. And because if you're going through stress, body gets stressed, like someone has say a car accident, body gets stressed, right? So that's a different pain. But when you're emotionally getting abused and all that, that also gets trapped in the body starts aching, body starts hurting, because the emotions are trapped in the cells. And it is true because I experienced that. So I can only speak for myself. I'm not a doctor, but I can speak for myself and a lot of other people that their body is in pain. It's their emotions on the subconscious.
Before someone really smart with a PhD speaks, I've got to speak up to this because, there are certain things that are triggered, right, by events, right? So I think about, early on, before everybody seemed to have some kind of a gluten intolerance, right? My own, sister-in-law comes back, just got married, had the whole stressful event, and literally comes back from her honeymoon, and she was a walking skeleton. We were like, oh my gosh, she's got cancer. She's got something. Well, all of that emotional event, even though it was a happy time, it was a lot of stress, and that stress somehow activated that that gluten intolerance, and she now has dealt with that for I don't know however many years now, 20 something years.
Oh my God, you just touched the topic. I have to say something about that. Yes, as I said, gluten-free, I don't touch gluten, but there's a reason why. I'm gluten-free here in California because of now we're getting deeper. It's the food supply.
The quality, right?
I won't put that on this talk, but Junior is I don't know if everyone has heard of Junior. The food system. Mm-hmm. Even the word natural, there's like 70 toxins and chemicals in that word. I'll tell you why. As an example, I can only speak for myself, as I said, and many I've known. I cannot eat flour in America because of the glyphosates and all the toxins and all the stuff. But I had flour from Italy, mm-hmm. From Spain, nothing. And the same with dairy. You need to know the quality, the source it's coming from, and also our thoughts. If we're going to think this is going to hurt me, it will hurt you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so there's you have whatever you say, and there are things that I agree with you. I agree with you as Breck mentioned. There are differences. There's Europe has different standards, non-GMO versus what's here, and there are things like that. And your philosophy on what's trapped in the cells have some friends that are very much into Oriental medicine and get great results. And like there's the guy we had on from Harmonetics who's also an acupuncturist, the Easy Breath. He's or doctor of Oriental medicine. He's very much into things. Trauma's been trapped in certain areas, and so there's things do that. And as Breck mentioned, different things. People PTSD and anxiety, I think, are triggered by different things. So that's right. Response. But now that said, you're kind of hiding the recipe. But when we're getting short on time here. Before we come back from a little break here, I do want you talked a little bit about the recipe. You say, look, because you went through your journaling early to help you mentally. You talked about I forget the woman's name work there. You talked a little bit about PEMF and body work, but we I'd like to give the people in our audience we do want them to reach out to you, reach out to Bob, reach out to me if they need, or Breck if they need help. But we also always like to leave them with, some actionable advice that they can do on their own a little bit too. So when we come back, I do want we're going to go through two things. Dive in a little bit to the modalities that worked for you. And then we want to talk about your work now and how you're helping others. But before that, Breck's biting at the chops to give us a message from a very important party to us.
Yeah. So a question for Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob, what percentage of the population has a mineral deficiency?
Oh, about 99.5%.
So basically everyone, right? So
just about everybody has a mineral deficiency.
yeah, so that's why I'm excited to talk about our sponsor for this episode, Better Alt. So committed to supporting and enhancing well-being. And according to independent studies, and also you can find these studies on PubMed.gov, this supplement improves not only your energy levels, enhances cognitive function, supports healthy aging, while boosting your immune system. It is 85 to 87 of the 102 trace minerals that your body needs to survive. So it's the United States #1 brand of pure Himalayan Shilajit from Better Alt. And it's available at thebetteralt.com. GNC and other fine retailers actually have a promotion going on right now at the TikTok shop. So you can go there. Black Friday specials will give you another 20% off. We'll leave a link in the show notes. So thank you for that. So Haleh, we wanted to, answer that question that Tim had for you, right? And so let's pick up where we left off before the break.
Thank you so much. Okay, so one of the methods I explained with the physical abuse, how I got out, right? So I will go about the health. So at that time, I was taking, besides the therapy that Dr. Doug Deere was working on me, I also was taking, changed my food system a lot. My food shifted. I'm going back in time. It was a lot of our food based on his research. I needed to take out of my food up to a point that was back in 2011. I'm like, what is there to eat? He's taking literally everything out. It doesn't leave me much to eat. Take out dairy, take out gluten, take out any carbs. I mean, there's a lot of different ways of food that I needed to eliminate. This question is so broad, but I'll narrow it down because I've done so many different during that time, because it was way back when I was also experiencing. I've done so many elimination diet, gluten-free, keto, what is it? You name it, vegetarian, raw, you name it, I had done to experience what had worked for me. What works for me, because one would work, one wouldn't work. One would work, the other didn't. So it was like a cycle, but at the same time, I was taking the supplementation that Dr. Paul Yannick was a scientist that had cured his cancer, had created. So it was a special, and it was just him. He's the scientist who's created it. I was taking those supplementations based on muscle testing of what my body needs. The muscle testing is through a chiropractor. So that was what I was doing at that time. So that was one thing. I eliminated, as I said, a lot of food, but then I was still feeling other fatigue and the bloating and other pain going on in my body. So I was going and getting PEMF at the same time, and that really helped. I did biocharger. That really helped. So those are, I was getting a body massage to release.
For our audience, explain, we've already done a session on PEMF, but biocharger, explain that really briefly for our audience.
Yeah, how are you supposed to, it's a Tesla technology, very advanced, and you put different, it's like how you program something into the computer. So you program, let's say it's your immune system. Let's say you want to program pain, inflammation. You would put it in the system, and this Tesla, the coils and this round Tesla technology would shoot out the energy, and you would sit next to it. Make sure you don't have metal or phone, anything next, and you just absorb that frequency. And that is the reality. You hold a light bulb, and it's not plugged in anywhere. It lights up like that biocharger, and there's science. So it's not like it's not woohoo, it's science.
Yeah. Because it sounds like it's a cousin or related to PEMF. The three of us have used PEMF, and it gets back to what you talked about earlier. The body is electrical, works on frequencies. Frequency kicks off the production of nitric oxide. It kicks off the release of repair proteins. So it's what's in giving the body and the we'll talk about activation. It's what's the activation energy at the cellular level to get the body producing what it needs to, and putting it in balance and stuff.
Right.
I just want to interrupt. I want to interrupt
Yes.
for just 1 minute because I want our audience to know that what you're describing is a multimodal approach. You're putting together so many different modalities, sometimes at the same time, which would be multimodal, or even sequential unimodal. Try another, try another. But but what's really happening is we're using a multimodal approach, and that's what people need to know when they're trying to resolve their health issues. It's a multimodal approach, really critical.
And also, there's many different other technologies as well that I did. I do live blood analysis because it's live, it's not that, and that is it would show where my body is at that given time. So I did live blood analysis. So there was a lot of different more details that I had to adapt and change and experience what works, what doesn't. And one thing I want to share with everyone, not everyone knows about lectins, which was a huge part because
Repeat that, Haleh.
A lot of people don't know about lectins in our food.
Lectins.
L-E-C-T-I-N-S. And I learned that a lot from Dr. Gundry. I incorporated that, and it made it not everything. As I said, I took a little parts of everything, and I saw what works for me, and I incorporated the lectin part. It worked hugely on me because I was a tomato fan. I was an eggplant fan. And it's in lectins as in beans. It's a type of protein that our body is not meant to digest as an enzyme. So what I did, I'll just make it short. As I said, these are all long and more in depth, but I put, for example, tomato in the pressure cooker. It doesn't take all of it away, but it reduces it. And it helps with inflammation, with bloating. It did hugely for me.
Good.
All right, so I got to jump in here for just a moment. So what do you think? So you were like in bed for a long time, 3 months, I think you said, right? Now, was there a time during those 3 months where you could actually get out of bed and walk around? Or were you getting better a little bit better here and there? Or did you just pop up one day and like, I'm ready to go?
No, it took work. It took a lot of work.
I know that, but was it a gradual process?
It was gradually doing the work, doing everything. And towards when I knew that I'm able to get up, but then I was constantly getting vertigo. I was very unstable. I was shaking. The tremors was a lot. And it was little by little, I got stronger and stronger.
So how can you've been on this incredible road journey with so many different modalities. How can you use all that information to help people who want to work with you because you know so much and you've been through, I'm just going to say you've been through it all, even though you haven't, but you've been through a lot.
So hold that answer for a second, Haleh.
Okay.
Wrap up the portion. It's very, very important. And there's a transition to that I want to get into. But number one, Bob talked about the multimodal approach, which I think fits with our philosophy trying to teacher, because we try to work through with everybody. What do you need from end to end to be healthy, to heal yourself, to perform? And it's not one thing. And so what you've shared so far, the body, the sort of, for lack of a better term, the mental work you had to do to get things out to that. Number two, you went through on the health side. It was you looked at the food as medicine. What's the right medicine for you in that regard? What's the right supplementation along with that? But you also verified each of that through the muscle testing and through the live blood testing. And there were probably it was the testing, the verification, the diet, the PEMF, the biocharger, and all that. So you work. But one thing I also, which is common with, I think, with our other wellness hero we featured so far, that I think really should become home to the audience. It's also some form of faith to keep going, and that persistence, knowing that the answer is out there, keep looking for it and tailoring for yourself. So I think that's very key.
Right.
Now, before you get into how do you help others, which is important, we want to get to, and we got to get that. But it's also tell us about your, I think even as important now, and lining up for that, tell us about your life now, mentally, physically. Are you still a mess, Haleh?
Hey, Tim, just look at her, man. Just look at her. Listen to her. She's great.
I have a zest of a 4-year-old, and I get a lot of people, where did you get your energy? I'm always, yeah. So thank you, Dr. Bob. Yes, wow. I'm extremely passionate, as I said, because I didn't know this is going to become my job. I was just like impacting and doing that and getting money from corporation. But this whole thing became living my passion now is what I enjoyed and what I'm doing. So, God.
The life is good. Life is great.
And she's a walking miracle.
Yeah. Life is
Thank
great.
you. Yes, I keep moving forward. I have that, yes, that faith, that knowing that us human beings are extremely powerful. And we got to just, you know what it is? The main thing I think it is to let that fear go. A lot of us fear, like, I had someone, they need to want to do that. I had someone that reached out, but she wanted to do surgery, which there was other ways, but it's the choice, right? It's either you can detox or cut the gallbladder out, so taking those little steps one day at a time can help you avoid that down the line, because people don't take those little steps. And then when it comes to that part,
they've gone too far
to cut it out, right?
They've gone too far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they need to take those little steps. And that's what I'm here for, to make it easy and simple. During my time, it wasn't easy and simple. It was either over expensive or it was too many different modalities, do this, do that. That's why now I've tried it all. I mentored with one of the best, and I've learned tons, and I want to be able to be that accountability, that friend, to make it simple and easy that they could do this.
So how do people get a hold of you? That's the real key. Like right now, I don't know how to get a hold of you. How do we get a hold of you? How do we find out? How do we work with you?
I think Tim put something as a complimentary in the chat. Those I have
we've got it. We'll have it in the chat for your complimentary discovery on your morning action plan. You might want to tell people what that is.
Yes,
and then also, so that'll be in the show notes. But we also, do a replay over on. But go ahead and mention that, because we also wanted the audio for our replay over on Spotify.
Yep. Thank you. So I made it simple and easy. It's just 5 steps. Just do this every day and be consistent. We'll worry about the rest later. Let's take the easy step. I like the easy step. If you're advanced, then okay, we'll take the next step. But I made it simple, easy, and it's complimentary. As easy as brushing your teeth, as easy as journaling gratefulness, grounding yourself. It's simple stuff, brushing your teeth. Because my high thing also, which I forgot to mention, I'll mention it on this really quickly, is anything you put on your skin, it goes into your bloodstream. So be careful what you put in your, what we smell, eat, touch, hear, all of those, body, mind, and spirit, has a lot to do with our well-being. So taking those little steps, that can be easy. For example, the pressure cooker, I say that because I loved food, so I didn't get deprived of food. I made it somehow that it's easy. So there's ways you can make it easy and tasteful and happy and joyful. That's what I'm all about. So I can make it that easy shift for them. So that's the complimentary that I have there. But also, I don't think that it has my information because it's a free download for them. And to get a hold of me is we're up there. Healthspan, it's all one word, healthspanwithhaleh.com.
Great.
It's a website. It's a simple website, not complicated. Yeah.
And so,
For those listening on Spotify, that is Healthspan with spelled out WITH, and then Haleh is spelled HALEH.com.
Thanks, Breck. And so what's that? So you talk a little bit about it. You talked about the morning action plan and making that simple and that nice sort of giveaway for them, which I appreciate you giving that actionable advice they can get for free. But what's your overall work with people? And I think he's captured the name Healthspan that you say you enjoy, it's become your work. What are you working to accomplish to people and helping people with overall?
Thank you. First of all, a lot of people want to know, a lot of us know about Healthspan. Some people don't know what a Healthspan is. They know health. So a Healthspan is just the number of years in your life living it in quality. With lifespan is just the number of the years in your life. So that's why to live your life for however long you want, but live it in quality without pain and without popping medication down. So that is, I work one-on-one with people because each person is different. I tailor to their specific needs. I send out, first is a consent that I have them fill out because I am not a doctor. So I make sure they fill out that consent. Then I send out a questionnaire. They fill it out to see if they're the right person for me or if I'm the right person for them. And if not, I have tons of connections and I can refer them out. So that's the way I work with them.
You may have already answered this. We did have a studio audience question, and you kind of already responded to this from one of our doctors, Dr. Lewis, that asked, what inspired you to launch Healthspan? And it was really because you were living it, right, yourself, and you wanted to be able to help others.
Yes, exactly. And also, I don't know, because I don't want to sound woohoo or anything like that, but my dad, when he crossed over on Mother's Day, May 2020, I knew that I'm not going back to corporation. I was already guiding and helping people on the side, and I was making money in corporation. Now, being an entrepreneur was just stepping into a different universe, totally like crawling again. And I wasn't ready for it. And yet, my dad, when he passed, it's not woohoo, but it's like when you experience that, I got a message from him in my sleep that I need to do this. So I will forward that on. And that's how that happened. And this book that I have is from my dad. He told me.
What's the name of that book, Haleh?
Oh, You Are the Universe, the Master Creator. It's 17 chapters, very simple. Each chapter is 1 to 2 pages. And at the end, it's a workbook. So it's about the person reading it. There's notes to write. I did this because of him. And I was told that it's my purpose. I need to move forward and not go back to corporate. As challenging as it was in the beginning, because I was making good money in a corporation. And now I'm being an entrepreneur. It's a whole different world. But I feel that that's something you got to experience. This is like, I thought also it's like, what do you mean? But yeah,
I would say you're resilient.
Yes,
sure. Congratulations on everything you did.
Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of the WellWaveNOW and being a contributor to WellWaveNOW Healthcare Disruptors Facebook group too. We love that you're participating in that group as well. Want to thank everybody on social media, on TikTok and Facebook Live, and all of our studio audience here. Hey, Tim, what's coming up for next week?
Well, next week we've got something to help Dr. Bob out. We've got Dr. Grant from Canada working on one of Dr. Bob's favorite topics, which is diabetes, as he calls it. There's a epidemic of obesity in North America and other places tied to diabetes. Dr. Grant's one of the first ones who actually labeled or saw that Alzheimer's could actually be called diabetes type 3, the interaction on that. So he's going to help. Dr. Bob is I say one reason Bob loves this. He's a big brain researcher. So here's a guy who will talk about the effect of obesity and diabetes on the brain, but how to avoid it, how to reverse it, and do that without medication, and to really take a real structured approach to that. So it'll be good to have him here with us as our next step.
Fantastic.
Wow. I would
Thank
love
you.
to.
It's great to have you.
Thank you so much. I would love to know, and I would love to listen in because I may have someone that I can refer out. Yes.
Beautiful. You're invited, and we'll have the same link, but we'll get it out to you. Same link, same time. But love to have you join on that into person, and have you come back again with us and share some more of your work and how it's helping you.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Haleh. Appreciate it.
So much.